Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast, where we discuss and celebrate some of our favorites in TV and film. I am your host, Xavier, and I have the distinct pleasure of being joined by my fellow Popcorn Watchlist panelists, Anthony, Danny, and Zach, to talk about the sequel to last week's episode. Fresh off the heels of Inside Out 1, we went right in to the sequel, Inside Out 2. Personally, I'm really excited to talk about this one. It's one of, we've mentioned it that it's one of Pixar's best, so the expectations were pretty high. But with that being said, we are going to go into some pretty major spoilers, kind of not so much a play-by-play action, but we're going to talk about some major points and also discuss some of our favorite things that we loved about the movie. So without further ado, let's get into some of these statistics. Danny, take it away.
Yeah, so going off on the budget here, the budget was $200 million.
That's what, around the same? Or
it was like $25 million more than the first one.
That's interesting, considering another point we'll bring up later, but yeah.
But with that $200 million budget, we got a $1 billion box office so far.
Yeah,
and it's still going.
Already.
3 weeks in. This has only been 3 weeks in.
3 weekends.
3 weekends. So you're right. That's not even like, it's 2-ish weeks.
2 weeks.
Nice.
We need one more week, but
yeah, one more week for 2 weeks. But
also the first movie to hit $1 billion this year.
Yeah, go figure.
Really? Okay.
The first movie this year.
First and only one.
What movies
so far
we had that maybe should have been
Dune 2.
Dune was like 700 or something.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Should have been.
That was the highest so far.
This
year.
700. Okay.
Yeah, there's another July juggernaut waiting in the midst to possibly hit that pretty fast.
Well, and this weekend is Despicable Me. That's another juggernaut for families.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if that hits $1 billion either.
Yeah, the Despicable Me series somehow prints money for Universal. But going back into Inside Out 2, a lot of people, me included, were really excited for this. It's great to see some of the returning cast as well as some new cast members too. I'll just say right out of the gate, Maya Hawke, Anxiety, spot on. This is incredible.
MVP.
Like her work, really the MVP of the movie. Like there had to have been points too where I'm pretty sure they had animated maybe some of her mannerisms built into it too. I read some interviews where like she brought in some of her own, just kind of personal experience you're gonna bring into the character, and like the way she brought life to basically this type of emotion that as we get older we experience more often than not. I think it was really, really great. But we talk about the budget being more than part one. I do find it interesting, and I have to kind of call the elephant in the room that we did get new cast members for Fear and Disgust. That Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling. Yeah, Mindy Kaling didn't come back. I've heard it was for money issues or something of that nature, but that's kind of stuff, maybe details I maybe not know. But with that being said, Lisa Lapira and especially Tony Hale, like, just really were incredible on it. Like Tony Hale, it was like shoe-in picture perfect.
Yeah, that's
like
good.
I was getting initially I was like, am I getting Forky vibes out of this? But then he starts kicking in a lot of the fear, especially like the fear and anxiety.
Some Buster in there.
Stuff in there. Yeah, there's some Buster in there. No Lucille's to have to look out for. But obviously Lewis Black, Phyllis Smith, really killed it. But we talked about Maya Hawke. Also Ayo Edebiri coming in as Envy. Paul Walter Hauser, like low key, pretty great. Like I'm pretty sure he's just in a sound booth, just like doing a lot of like just a lot of freak out noises. But the whole thing is like I love the continuation of like made perfect sense. As you get older, you experience new emotions. They brought in, if you remember at the end of the first movie, the console got updated.
Bigger. Yeah.
And so it makes sense. It's like, hey, what's puberty? Like, no, we'll wait till later. And then that one night, there's like the puberty started. yeah, it started to just flare up, just massive alarm, and then the wrecking crew comes back in again. That's incredible. But yeah, Riley now being a teenager, going through some physical but also more emotional changes. And it's very interesting to see how all of that really played out and handled. I think, a great way to see more of how Inside Out was able to bring up how your emotions work together, or when one emotion maybe takes over and tries to do things. I kind of really like the whole idea of how, in the end, your emotions, we talked about in part 1, and like how it continues in part 2, like the emotions are trying to like protect you or like serve a function for you. And it was really, interesting and great to see how like anxiety is like, no, like we have to plan to, it's all here, we're protecting Riley, but we have to do all these things. And it's, it played into how these newer emotions, especially like ennui, like is serving the function of just like, oh, how do I protect myself? By not showing it disinterest and discare and no caring. It was really, really cool. And again, we still got great color, like we talked about last week. A lot of the great detail from all the various,
the colors,
like where Riley's core thoughts come from, like from that bottom area from the control room, like that was animated really well. From how the thought streams go up and then create that core belief in oneself. Like you have core values and core beliefs.
I really liked the animation. Every time someone would kind of like pluck the string, then it would vibrate, and then
based on the
depending
emotion.
on the emotion was like every emotion had its own like shape, and then the color and the sound effect.
Yeah.
And so later when anxiety starts, I guess not polluting, but as
just taking over.
Yeah, she keeps putting more and more of the memories.
That one was almost kind of like
it
was like a lightning bolt,
like a lightning bolt, just like
erratic.
It was pretty cool, and it's like, and I like how it mixed with some of the others. It was like you see the light blue one of joy, and it's like nope, now it's with the lightning. It's like
now it's kind of like zapping in, because it's like we got to create a new Riley. It's like creating new core beliefs, and then that translates into the core belief that's in the control room. That's all orange and kind of a little mangled and a little twisted, and then that can turn into others. Yeah, really well done. But the ultimate question, if we're talking about technicality of how the movie was animated and presented, how was the water, Zach?
The water looked great.
What's it?
It was the mind water.
The thing is, it wasn't that great because you weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
There
was ice though.
What? Like you mean like
the hockey?
Like the skating?
The hockey.
Oh,
skating.
okay.
Yeah. No, I mean,
what about the water? What about the water on like her face when she's sweating? And that was pretty impressive.
I mean, the reflection of the stuff bouncing off her.
But it's not like a water simulator on.
But the water in the stream of consciousness and.
With the broccoli on it?
And the broccoli on it?
I think it looked,
which is a great callback.
I think it looked pretty solid. I wasn't really paying attention to the water.
Damn, it wasn't impressive.
Damn, he was so emotional.
Wasn't as good as
the water
Toy Story 4.
The water in that
like that central core area?
Yeah.
Where the memories are?
That I was paying attention more to.
The loop?
But yeah, it looked good there. And the little waterfall too.
Yeah.
I don't think it beats Toy Story 4 though.
Toy Story 4's water?
Yeah, the water when they were trying to save our sea in like the thunderstorm. That water.
That was pretty out of hand. He has a good point. But I do like how like when disgust was before, I guess the rest of the emotions take over, where disgust notices that one of Riley's friends. When one of Riley's friends is able to like see like a little bit of like hesitation of like, oh no, like we're not gonna be together in high school, and then like Riley's emotions like, wait a minute, hold that, and then they start doing the zoom enhance. Like she did zoom enhance, but then we go into Riley's.
Like that 1 second frame of like a different look.
Look, there's doubt. Like she's hiding something.
Like the micro expressions.
Yeah, it was cool. Like how your emotions are basically trying to read that to gain understanding. Like because originally back in the day, we had to read those little things for survival mechanisms. At that point, it's like you're trying to read in the emotions to see. And then Riley's friends, we got to see a little bit into Riley's friend's mind, and just like, oh no, she knows we're hiding something. Look at that. Look at the weird the the facial expression, it was going
They
like,
did like
back
a
and forth.
rewind play.
Yeah, rewind, play. That
See,
was hilarious.
That one little,
Yeah.
was like movement in her eyebrow. I was like, oh, she knows we're hiding something.
Yeah, and it was really cool because it again continued to tie in how like Riley loving hockey, coming from where she was before. Cool thing I did like in terms of continuity is that Riley's parents are still Kyle MacLachlan and Diane Lane.
Nice.
Yeah, they still played the same characters. That was really cool. But it just played perfectly into what Riley is kind of going through and trying to like, hey, like my friends may not be near my friends all the time. How am I going to then adjust and make new friends. Like I need to, going to a new high school, and it's a high school where, these super pro awesome high school hockey team is going to be at. Like I have to fit in with these Firebirds. Like holy crap! And so like how are the rest of the emotions able to handle all that and help guide her through it all? But yeah, I think I don't know if anyone has a favorite like new emotion. I thought envy was great because like envy was kind of like, how do we find a way to express our thoughts or what we want, and then it's like take over and take over the panel. And I like the new colors, how each of the new emotions would then take over the panel. Like obviously anxiety,
I like that it's all color coded.
Uh-huh.
It was a cool idea since the first one too, but like now being able to add more colors.
Yeah, and
like
then you
ennui, just like on the couch, not caring.
remote
On the phone.
And then they're like, how's this being controlled? I have the remote app.
I have the remote app. Like, but what's funny too is that like even
Could have
the wrecking
Joy
team.
had that this whole time and just been like,
No, because she didn't
doesn't
know.
know
no,
about
no,
that.
no. I'm saying like if she would have had the app,
If they make a part 3, she would
all
be
of them have
apping
the
it
app.
up.
They could just
Yeah.
control from anywhere. They
Yeah.
wouldn't have any of these
Well, the thing
problems.
is, I think
Be in headquarters. all the
Ennui is
time.
also the only one that actually has like a cell phone. I don't know if any of the other.
Yeah, Ennui's the only one that
Yeah.
knew about it. It's like this is so okay. Look how easy this is. Yeah, you had to have sadness kind of like take it over, which is cool to see. Like sadness have to be sent back as like an infiltrate.
I liked nostalgia.
Nostalgia's amazing. No nostalgia.
Not yet.
You're 10 years too early, 2 graduations, and a best friend's wedding. Like, you're a little... And she's like, do you remember the time when we had fun with our friends? Like, that just happened, nostalgia. It's okay.
That one's gonna be the next villain.
She's like, I remember it all. We're going to wallow in it because those were the only good emotions that she takes over the projector. But yeah.
I liked embarrassment a lot.
Embarrassment was pretty cool. Dude, the first time we meet Embarrassment, and I was just like, wait, who's taking over? It's just like the one
like the one button.
finger,
Yeah.
just the one button. Like he's like hiding in the hoodie
And that's
And
when
just,
she's introducing herself to the like captain of the team, right?
a little bit, yeah.
She's kind of just like making up stuff and
And then Joy tries to take over, like we're gonna be goofy with our friends, and then like the coach comes in and they're being way too goofy, and then it's like, oh no, it's just like Anderson, Coach Roberts played by Yvette Nicole Brown.
Go watch Community.
MVP, go watch Community. She she calls her out on it, and then it's just like she feels embarrassed, and then like embarrassment is just like laying over the entire panel. I loved that. Just like, and then like he's laying over, like trying to get like one other button, and just like, like just terrible. Like yeah, it kind of like encapsulated it perfectly. It's just like the little mannerism. Like you think like a character like that, like they're gonna be super talkative. Like no, like they found a way to like at least convey all the like I mentioned, like Paul Walter Hauser's just in a sound booth, like just like making like sad and scared and embarrassed noises. And at the same time, like that character's had like you saw that certain emotions had like kind of pairings, like fear and anxiety. Like, hey, I like anxiety. She's got a plan. Like even though like because anxiety is like preying on fears, but like trying to plan for it, and then sadness ties in with embarrassment and how like it's okay to feel both, and then I think at a certain point, like you may have like even a little bit of like joy and anger, like we're kind of like a little in sync. Because remember when Joy was just like, "Oh, I don't have a plan. I got to figure out how we have to do it all." Like everybody expects Joy to be so happy all the time. It's like okay, like it's tying in how like not one whole emotion can be
Take the weight of everything.
Yeah, take the weight of it all. Exactly right. I remember, and then at the same time, like the whole plot becomes all the new emotions are just like, no, we have to take over to protect Riley to be able to then send her back, or to get her and prepare her. But then they end up just like how they were sending away all like the bad memories, like we're just gonna send them all away. That's like, I'm like, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Like those are all part of what help you create your core self, and then the main emotions get sent back as well.
Well, by the beginning of the movie, the I guess main feeling that they thought that was Riley was just her saying, I'm a good person. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's her. That's who she really is. But that's like, there was only like one aspect of her because they kept throwing everything away.
Yeah.
And, they don't learn that until the end of the movie.
Until the end of the movie. Even Joyce is like, hey, like all of these, like we got to if we don't bring this core value back, we got to bring all of these back. And at the same time, like, it's like anxiety has sent all the core emotions back to the vault. You have all these other, core values being created. And then anxiety's coming up with all these plans of like, everybody relates to like, if you're nervous or scared for something, like trying to go to sleep and you're like trying to think of all like the nightmare doom scenarios of what can happen. And like, I love that scene. And like what used to be like the dream theater is now just like, oh, it's like a writer's room. Just like, okay, I need all these scenarios. We need to beam them up to Riley so she can, not freak, so we can be prepared.
She's awake.
Yeah, she's awake and we need to be prepared. But like that was keeping Riley up and like, oh, if you're hurting her, she's scary. And like, it made perfect sense. Like, hey, like too much of the anxiety can actually, do harm. It was, it's surprising. I was like, man, this is surprisingly like, really well thought out. And especially when Joy's like, no, like we have to do something else. And like, then they start throwing in all like the wild stuff. Like there's a unicorn or like there's this other thing. But yeah, I think
like that one random thought.
Yeah. The one random thought. Just like, hey, like I like where you're, like, I don't know what that's going to do with anything, but yes, that I like where your head's at. And like the guy drawing is like, yeah, like just very silly. And then, the mind police are trying to run after her. And even that was even freaky because they're like, wait, what's going on here? And then anxiety's like, Joy. That was pretty freaky too. I don't know if you guys have any other like really fun moments. I have one moment that was really a great like callback to part one. Very small, but I loved it.
I liked when, the new emotions bottled up the old emotions and they put them in jail essentially in the vault. And then when they were trying to get out of the vault, they see who else is in there and they find like a dog type character in there.
Oh my god!
Luffy clearly
Ron Funches.
No, the voice, but I'm saying it's like clearly a spoof on like either Bluey or Dora the Explorer or
definitely Dora.
Yeah, because the pouch thing that I thought that was hilarious. Like,
dude,
hey, Pouchy, and he's like, let's see what I have to get out of here.
Dude, but Luffy's like talking to nobody. I was like, dude, this is great.
He's just talking to the wall. And like, who's he talking to?
I love that. Yeah, he's talking to the camera at first. And like, who are you talking to? Like, I'm talking to my friend.
They did it perfectly because they always have they have to time their sayings so that like whoever the kids are watching can talk to the TV. So like he was doing that, but to the wall. He's like, so what do you think we should do? Okay. That was that
part was awesome. And then Anger just being like, what is this? This is so stupid. And like how Pouchy's like, hey, well, look, I've got some tape. I've got or whatever. I forgot it was like some other random thing. And then some dynamite. And they're like, what? Yes. Yes, the dynamite. And then we had a deep dark secret. This freaky, scary, hulking deep dark secret.
And then my favorite, Lance /Blade.
Oh my god! Look, that's that video game character that she had a crush on. That's really liked. And like they go back to the flashback. It's just like.
Do you remember what his finishing move is?
He's like, no, we can't use him. You know what his finishing move was, or like his power move is just like roll.
So that was like a Donkey Kong roll. I love how it was like he even looked. It was like PS1 graphics. Like
the way it was animated was like both Bluffy and Lance was
Bluffy, Lance, and Pouchy. Like that was one where like we talked about how part one had like some different types of animation when they went to like the abstract stuff.
Yeah.
This was like fun thinking about like other different of Riley's experiences and through life growing up, and you're able to still have fun and animate that. Like even Pouchy, like when Anger gets to that point of the Avengers, it's like, all right, Pouchy, what do you have here? It's like, I've got some dynamite. Just like, give me more dynamite. He just like goes and just starts rummaging through pouches.
He's like, I've got tape, a rubber duck, and then dynamite.
He's just like, what? Again? He's like, give me this. And he's in anger. Again, Lewis Black, incredible. Just runs in there and just rummages through, like, gets like all the dynamite to blow it up.
Yeah, like having younger brothers and like younger nieces and seeing how spot on it was to like Mickey's Clubhouse, where the kid has to pick what's the best thing to utilize in this.
Well, here
and also and Dora the Explorer with her backpack, and then the map that talks to the kids is like, this looks just like the map. But yeah, it's
on the Wikipedia page, it does say that for Bluefy, he is similar to the hosts of interactive children's shows such as Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer.
yeah, that's for sure.
And then and the other one for Pouchy, it says a talking Pouch who was similar to Backpack from Dora the Explorer and Toodles from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
There you go.
Toodles.
There you go. I forgot about Toodles. Damn, that's buried deep in there. But what was also buried deep in Riley's subconscious. It's my favorite running gag from part 1.
Wait, real quick. I just saw this now. So Lance, he is similar to the character Cloud Strife.
That's correct. I knew that. Yeah, the Final Fantasy VII Cloud.
I mean,
100%. Very angsty. Has a big sword.
He has a big sword. He doesn't even use it.
He just rolls.
But the rolling worked. I love how just like he rolled past them. He's like, oh, that's so stupid, and then like knocks something over,
knocks it down,
the chain reaction,
closes the door, locks the vault.
Dude, the guy slips on the other thing, puts coffee in his face, and it's like everybody gets.
And then the one that tries to help them, then the bigger cop like grabs him by the hand, but he brings him in.
He brings him in. He's like, no.
Somehow all get locked in another vault.
Thanks, and then discusses like has the biggest crush on her. Like, thanks, Lance.
So good.
But yeah, and talking about like the new emotions, how they're like, oh crap, like we need like they when Riley's in like that late night party and she's kind of like kind of forsaking a little bit her current friends because like they're too immature and like they talk about that boy band they really like. It's like, no, I don't really like it, and Ennui completely took over. They're like, oh wait, but we need to be cool. We need to figure out what's everything we know about music, and then it's like all that's in here are just jingles, and then they start playing the triple deck gun.
I do that. I laughed hardest. I probably laughed the hardest. I don't think any of the kids got that.
No, I cracked up, and I looked at my sister like, dude, the triple deck gun song. I was like, what? It's like, yeah.
I think they even said at one point like, how does this keep coming back?
Yeah, yeah. She's like, really? Let's pull at something, and she's like, what is this triple deck gun? It's like, that's the only thing they know about music is just jingles and old stuff. But that and like they
I'm surprised she didn't say anything about the what's that boy band from Turning Red? Was it like Four Town or something like that?
Well, I think the poster of that band was in her room.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Was it? Dang.
I didn't notice.
You know, it was also showed up that almost had me freak out a little bit. There was a little mini toy of, I forgot where, but it was like small cameo of Bing Bong as a little toy.
Nice. Where though?
I don't know if it was in like the deep. I don't know if it was like as like montage as she was growing up, or it was somewhere else in her mind. But like there was a little toy. Like, it shows up where it's like a little toy plushie of Bing Bong.
I have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I remember. I've seen it twice already, and I was like, wait, like Bing Bong's there. Like there it is. But thankfully, that's all there is. There's no more trauma that has to come from Bing Bong.
I was expecting Bing Bong to somehow come back.
No, man, he went into the, that pit of.
He got forgotten.
He got forgotten, my man, because he had to take Riley to the moon, or yeah, this made me sad again. Thanks, Zach. Gosh, no, I'm kidding. What was it? Yeah, that the triple deck gun reference was really funny. The extra little like puns on like the stuff that happens with it internally or your mind, like. The stream of consciousness. I was just like, Riley wants a whole bunch of junk food. Hey, we can ride the pizza slice, and then they're like, oh wait, no, now she wants broccoli. Yeah.
So she has a Four Town poster in her bedroom.
Okay, nice. Okay. Because I mean, once they said something about boy band, I'm like, oh, are they gonna reference
Four Town?
The other boy band in a Pixar movie?
In Turning Red.
And I wasn't sure if maybe one of the guys from the band was in the Mount Crushmore.
Yep,
like the other band that she likes. I forgot the name of it.
Well, I
the
know
thing is, they never
showed
showed the other band.
Lance was, and
Lance was in there, but also who was like the best
What about the guy from the first movie?
The imaginary
Yeah,
boyfriend?
at the very
Yeah,
died.
did you see Mount Rushmore?
he was the
Yeah.
first one.
Okay.
He was the first one.
I died for Riley.
I die for Riley. Really?
For Riley.
You will.
For Riley.
Yeah.
And then to the puns that you were talking about just a second ago. My favorite was the sarcasm.
First I was like, what are they gonna do with this? And then it's like the whole voice distortion. I was like, okay, no, that was cool.
That was a cool idea. Like
Everybody
cool.
tried it out. Discussed like, don't worry, no, you gotta charm him. I'm just like, oh no, that sounds awful. Like Joy's sounded 100% sarcastic. Like Amy Poehler, you could tell had a lot of fun with that. I don't know if how many takes that took, but that was like totally like I could tell like the foreman was like, yeah, what a jerk. Like,
Well, wasn't there? What was it called? Was it the rumor mill where it was like the windmill blowing?
yes.
Actual windmill.
yeah, and then it's like a newspaper, and it's like, did you hear that so and so? It's so and so. Yeah, like I think was it fear or anger that was reading up on it, but like
Both were.
yeah,
Yeah.
or the parade.
More of those clever.
The parade of
Clever
dream
ideas.
jobs, and then they're like, oh, worst case scenario, Riley doesn't have any friends and goes up to be an ethnomusicologist, which I still, and the whole thing's like, which I don't know what that means or what it is.
Oh, because I think it was like a chef. underpaid, and then an artist.
Underpaid chef, underappreciated artist, and then ethnomusicologist, and they're like, what is that? Like that was another running gag. You had the brainstorm because they're like, oh, we need a brainstorm to figure out a big old light bulb. Shout out to Fear for having a parachute, which is great. They're like, you have a parachute? Wait, you guys don't? The other thing.
Fear of heights, man.
Yeah, it was stream of consciousness. It was the sarcasm.
The memories, or like the bad memories at the back of the mind.
Yeah, like we're gonna go. It's basically like not. It wasn't even like long term memories. Just like memory, like back of the mind memories that we're not gonna remember.
And back of the mind, or back of the back of the mind being like the play on words there, I guess, like literally in the back of the mind. I don't know what else they would have had.
I mean, and what was really cool too is like, still showing that like Riley's still really good at hockey, but then it's just like, the pressure and the anxiety took over. She basically stole the puck from her teammate to score a goal. That was hard freaking core. Like that's when you knew it was like, okay, no, it's getting serious.
So this movie came out still during the Stanley Cup hype.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so we're here.
all the
Yeah, all the hockey stuff.
Very
down.
cool that
Shoresy came out on Hulu, and I was also all up on that too. Like that has to deal with hockey up in Canada. Great show, by the way. Letterkenny spinoff. Shoresy's great, but like we hear Florida Panthers hype that was getting over, and then Inside Out 2 is like more hockey. There's a hockey camp now.
Yeah, very cool that a very popular movie as this is kind of, it could possibly put hockey on the map with maybe a lot of young girls or boys wanting to play it. So bringing it more to the U.S.
Yeah, man.
That'd be cool.
That actually would be pretty cool. Yeah, and everything, all that Coleman, all the pressure. Oh man! Before I get to that, how wild was it where there was that whole idea of Riley wanting to sneak into the office to get check the notebook. That I liked how that was handled. How
it shows which emotion was kind of controlling that.
Yeah, like anxiety going in there, and then at the same time, and at a certain point, like she's there and like pauses, and she feels sad, is like because sadness took over. Like that's freaking great. And then like that was like the whole plan of like then like Joy with the radio kind of blew. It wasn't her fault, but like the plan was kind of whoops. And then then she took it over again, and then took and then they read it, and then that was when like, wait, no, we need a brainstorm. Like, what do you mean not ready yet? And that like set off anxiety to the next level. Stuff going on. Even Envy was there too. Like, no, we need to do it. Like that's what we want. It's what we need to be able to proceed and have friends and survive high school. And all that kind of culminated from like running into, I think it was she ran into Grace and like laid her out for a good like 15-20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And
she got penalty.
She got the 2 minutes in the penalty box, and
the other team got the power play.
Yeah, the other team got the power. Yeah,
I mean the same team, but
yeah.
No.
Remember,
no, she ran into her friend.
She ran into her friend
who was on the other team.
No, I'm saying like they're all the same team. They're just
but
trying
they're in
out
that scrimmage.
for the
but they're just doing a scrimmage to play on what they did, but it's technically still part of it.
Yeah.
Not point. Point is that all that pressure leads up to Riley having that, what we see, which I think was an amazing way to visually portray an anxiety attack. To the point where it's just like anxiety, like you're pushing too hard, like it's
like a tornado.
Yeah, it was basically like she was the speed force, it was the anxigy force to the point where like it was so fast that like she just was stuck in place, just like. Which is awesome.
Not that she was stuck in place. It was more like
she was moving that fast.
It was almost an after.
Yeah, she was moving that fast.
Yeah, like
that's why it looked like a little jittery because she just kept constantly going back and forth.
But towards the end, like she finally hit a breaking point. She was just stuck on the console, just like I can't.
It's kind of like in the Flash, the TV show where like the speedsters can create
after
like
image. Yeah, it was an after image.
Yeah, is it? There's a word for it.
Mirage,
too,
speed mirage.
No, I forgot what it was.
It's pretty much like a speed mirage, like because like
look it up.
This what's his name? Thawne could make one like that. It's like a speed mirage or a speed clone. But anyway, like and just going back and forth the entire console, and like that thing was just a whole tornado of orange. And Joy finally it was great for Joy to finally come through, and even the other emotions.
It took all the emotions almost to kind of
rip off the core belief. And then to the point where they saw it because of the flood that they used of all the other emotions and memories to come in to the core beliefs, and now it's like a whole variety of things, which made more sense, like realistically, like you have different core beliefs that make who you are.
Right, because by that point, or for most of the movie, once anxiety took over, the core belief was her kind of being down on herself and be like, "Oh, I'm not good enough."
I'm not good enough, man. That hit me hard, and I was watching the movie. Like, oof. There are times where I've told myself that. Quite often.
Remnant. I think it's a remnant. Is it a remnant? No.
No, that's different because that's like an image, a version of yourself that you know is going to be paradoxed out of existence. But you still didn't do it. Yeah, and she didn't do that. But anyway, to Anthony's point, it's just like you have like these, like when one emotion takes over, that's like one whole core belief. But in order to be like a better and adjusted kind of person, you have various core beliefs that make you who you are. And even, like he said, you alluded to it earlier, like when Joy was trying to find that core belief and the whole mountain of almost forgotten memories, like those are just, all like, oh, these are all bad ones. The bad ones go away and the good ones stay in place. It's like, no, you need all of those to kind of help you.
Once they went over there and saw how many memories were there, they realized that, this shouldn't be like this. And they had to create that whole avalanche to bust through
Thanks,
the wall.
Pouch. Anger going, oh, Pouchy. I love that he's just like, I can't believe I have to do this.
I love how when they call him and like all he keeps bringing out is more dynamite. They're like, do you have anything else other than dynamite?
Yeah. Anything other than dynamite. But what's great too is that like is Anger does it. He's like, no, you guys all have to say it. And they go, oh, Pouchy. He just showed up. Yeah, hi. And then he gets freaking assaulted by Anger. Just, no, please, I don't want to do it. So
he's like stepping on him. He's like taking the stuff.
No, please stop. That was freaking hilarious.
It's like so, like for a kids movie, it's like very morbid.
Yeah, it's like give me the dynamite.
I really like the visualization of the brainstorm, that everything were varying sizes of light bulbs in like a tornado, right? Like a tornado.
That one big light bulb.
Right.
That one big light bulb.
And then they use the light bulb like to twist into the console, and then the light bulb lights up, and that's what gives her the idea. But
also, it's
really
like
cool.
The bigger the light bulb, the bigger the idea, whether good or bad.
Right.
I realize that's also a callback from part one, because remember part one, they also screwed in, I think, a different light bulb, and that was the light bulb like, no, we should just run away and go back home. Like this one was like the bigger, wait, we got a major idea, and then like, dye the hair red like the rest of the Firehawks, I forgot the name of the team.
Yeah,
Firehawks or something. But like she's like, I'm gonna, Jolly Rancher red my hair, which was kind of cool. Like, but it was also like, oh, you're.
But once you
into it.
put it, and obviously she hadn't made the team yet, you're kind of like,
yeah, it's kind of like, oh no, yeah, and like she's looking up to Valentina, which like the star player on the team, and I loved how like all the different, like when she first met her, like the different emotions played into it too. It's just like, oh my god, you're so and so. Like envy was in place. It's like, oh, but let's dial it back a little bit. That's a little bit of embarrassment.
You're from Michigan, right?
She's like,
sure,
I'm from Michigan. Yeah, hey, Michigan. And she's like, no, we know from part one she's from Minnesota. And fine. And then what's really cool is after all the emotions come together and help Riley get through it, and then she just is skating with her friends and finally has fun at camp. Finally, when Riley's at school, they're like, hey, yeah, come on over to Minnesota. Like they actually like got it right finally. Like she had had the wherewithal to stand up like, I'm actually from Minnesota. Yeah.
How about the crazy flying V technique that her and her two friends used before they went to the camp?
Dude, okay, what the heck that was amazing. So like with the actual like the hockey stick, like the hook part of it, she's like flipping it over and like just guiding it, but just like not even using the main flap.
Yeah,
like,
she just like extended it and then guided it.
Yeah,
she guided it and then threw her defender's legs so that her friend behind her would shoot and make it.
Yeah, that was out of hand.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like, and that's almost you can still flying V with 3 people, but the thing is, one of the girls is the goalie, so she couldn't really come out unless they're gonna no, just kidding.
Flying V.
Also, watch Mighty Ducks, Disney movie. Gordon Bombay, the GOAT. But Danny, Zach, any other fun moments? I think we kind of ran through most of.
I had like some from
sadness
before.
hiding behind books. Just because I don't know if you remember part 1 is like, hey, you're gonna read all the manuals, and then she's like, yeah, I know all the manuals now. Like I'm the perfect person to sneak in.
Embarrassment was helping her out.
Like embarrassment helping sadness was a cool
Yeah, that was really, really nice.
Dynamic.
I love how Sadness had the app or had the mobile app, and she's like in her bed and like sad, like anxiety's like Sadness, like no, like no,
like totally easy to find. Like,
yeah, she's totally there, just like Sadness, like, and it was like weird because it's like as an antagonist, like anxiety, like. It's like, it was weird for me watching the movie because it's just like, yeah, you always know like anxiety is like your antagonist, but it's like, at least me personally, I was like, man, like I get everything that she's doing. Like everything she's doing, like just seemed like so natural and relatable. It's like I can't like it's bad, but I also can't falter for it because like like a lot of us may have been there already. It was very clever and like I always never felt like it wasn't to the point where it's just like like where you have other movies, other stories, like clearly bad guy, no,
like
just
villain,
villain, like twirly mustache. It was like, no, this is completely relatable. Like
the villain is one of your feelings.
Yeah, right.
It's like you yourself are the villain.
Exactly, but then that means you yourself are your own best
Puberty's
friend.
the villain,
right? Puberty's the villain, surprise villain. And I loved how at the end, how like anytime anxiety, let's take her like, no, sit in your relaxing chair, you have your anxiety. Like she's drinking her anxiety.
All the puns, man.
It's really good. And then the massage chair, like, oh, this is great. Again, Maya Hawke, like, so good. She did great a job voice acting.
You just reminded me when they're in the car going to the camp, and the friend in the middle is like the emotions, like she spills the tea on the console.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh my god, you spilled the tea, and then she blurts out.
Yeah, and then she goes, no, we're not going to say too. Yeah.
It's too.
And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, great.
A bit on the nose, but still very funny.
After the first night of when puberty kicked in, and then her mom wakes her up. Then her mom's emotions like, great, this is a picture of the next 10 years.
He's like, yeah. He's like, great, we're prepared for this. We know what to do. But what's also great is that, like, again, everything's all different. So all the emotions are waking up inside Riley. Like, oh, don't worry, I've got this. No, I'm just angry. He's like, whoa, I didn't touch anything. And Fear's like, I'm going to be afraid. It's like, whoa, dial it down, Fear. It's like, and then even
He's
disgust.
like, oh, let me try it.
Disgust. Just like, I'm disgusting. I'm miserable. I smell. It's just like, okay, yeah, this thing's broken. Like immediately she's like, oh no, this thing's broken. Like,
and then they taped up like sticks together, like touch the console from a distance. Like that's gonna make
make a difference, and it totally didn't. They're like, what's happening? And yeah, like I was after I think the wrecking crew came in, right? Like, yeah, we're making way for new people. Like, what do you mean new people? And every time, like, there's always that window is always breaking.
The wrecking ball coming out of
nowhere. The wrecking ball out of nowhere is like, yep, this is the job, man. It's okay, cool, you're set, thanks, bye. Like, what do you mean? Who was it? I think, like, was it anxiety? No, I think anger got mad and then set off what could have been TNT. And I think someone had to put it out. I don't know if that was Joy or Fear. I forgot, but
I think it might have been Joy. I think.
She's like, no, it's gonna blow up.
Because the camera was the movie, the camera was focused more on her when she was like trying to figure out like what was going on.
Yeah,
so
and
she was the one that put out the fire. The fuse.
And last like message point that I really liked was the fact that when Joy found all the memories, like Anthony talked about it, like maybe is Riley gonna outgrow the need for joy? It's like and the answer is like no, but you can't. Just like what anxiety is doing, you can't have joy. Just if she was reflecting, like, no, I kind of took over the whole time too. Like, and even taking over this journey, trying to get back to the headquarters and bring back that core belief. It's like it can't be just me. Like we do have to work together, even more so than in part one. Like between just joy and sadness, like no, like all these emotions have to find a way to work together and to make Riley a hopefully decently adjusted human being. But yeah, that is really well done. I forgot I think there was there one or two post-credit scenes?
Two.
There was two.
There was like the mid.
What was the mid one? Because I remember the end one. The end one was hilarious.
The mid one was when they're sitting at the dinner table, Riley and her parents, and the mom asks how camp was.
Yes. That was perfect.
It's like, oh, we should tell her everything. Like, we're going to tell her about when we snuck into the coach's office and we did this and we did that.
Excusez-moi.
Yeah, and then Anri comes in and it just does whatever. It's like, it was good.
It was all right. It was like, and then mom's just like, what do you mean all right? What's happening here? Or like, and then dad, I think he's just like, what does he mean? Like, he's just like,
his anxiety.
Yeah, his anxiety's like, what do you mean all right? Like, is that just everything? I was like, nah, we're okay. Like, no, I think mom's was bad, and then dad's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, completely.
They went back to thinking about a sports game.
Another game, yeah, just like in part one, just like sports game. Yep. Yeah, I just loved how the mental projections of the memories how pop up, and then the final like post credit scene was Joy like, hey, come on out, Deep Dark Secret, it's okay, you can tell us what it is. Like, I burned the rug, and it's like, oh really? That's it? Oh, that was the time when we wet the I forgot. I was like, what the carpet?
We peed in the pool.
We peed in the pool, and he's like, oh, and then he just runs back in, and just locks himself up forever. Just no. It's like, oh okay, well, next time, maybe he'll come back with nostalgia.
There's always gonna be a Deep Dark Secret.
There's always gonna be a Deep Dark Secret, and then that again, that's gonna have to be brought out by nostalgia. Poor little nostalgia. Remember when Grace? I love that.
The old woman.
That's freaking hilarious.
Who did the voice of
That was June Squibb. Yeah, she is like almost like I think in her 90s. She was because she was born in 1929.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. There's this movie that came out recently this year called Thelma, and she's the main character. She plays a 93-year-old older woman that gets duped by a phone scammer, and then basically trying to get all that stuff back in like her walker and everything.
Like the beekeeper.
Kind of like the beekeeper, but less Jason Statham-y. Let me think. Yeah, if we do the math, what is she? Yeah, she's 93, 94? No, almost 94. She'll be 94 in November, I think, right? Or
No, she is 94.
She is 94. She'll be 95 in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at her name, Squibb.
June Squibb.
I'm pretty sure a squib in the world of Harry Potter is a non-magical person that's born of magical parents.
Nerd! Yes, you are right.
Like Filch.
Yeah, like somebody who didn't have magic parents and became magic, yes.
No, other way around.
Oh, other way around, yes. Who has magic people, but they don't have magic.
Yeah.
Nerd! Anyway.
Squib.
Yeah, dude. She was, like, again, small, big character. Really great. But yeah. You had another point?
No.
All right, cool.
No.
Well, he was showing me something earlier that Pete Docter was...
Oh, yeah, because before we recorded, you guys were mentioning, oh, yeah, Pete Docter wasn't involved in this. I'm like, he
played a voice.
Because he was... Yeah. He directed, and I think maybe wrote the first one, but he wasn't... Since he's the head of Pixar now, he did not do this movie.
Correct.
At least he was still involved with, being, who was it? Dad's anger.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, like Frank Oz was one of the mind cops, but then in part one he was one of the subconscious guard.
Flea was also one of the mind cops.
Jake.
And they brought back what's his face? Ratzenberger.
Yes.
As Fritz.
As Fritz.
I mean, they're always gonna have John Ratzenberger.
No, he hasn't been in every Pixar movie.
Not in every Pixar movie.
The first movie that he wasn't in was Luca.
Luca and then Lightyear, right?
And then pretty much the movies that came out after that, since Luca, this is the first one that he came back to. So he wasn't in Lightyear. He wasn't in Turning Red.
But he was in Soul.
Okay, so he wasn't Soul.
He was in Soul.
He wasn't in what was the other one?
It doesn't say
He wasn't
Soul.
Onward.
It doesn't say Soul.
Yeah, it does. For Ratzenberger?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Guy on Subway.
Oh wait, okay, no, okay, never mind.
This guy.
Wikipedia.
Look at this guy. Don't Wikipedia. Why do you Wikipedia when IMDb exists?
What's the movie that came out after? Oh no, and he wasn't in Elemental either.
He wasn't in Elemental.
Wow.
See, you've seen that one. That's the one I haven't seen yet.
I never really. Yeah, I didn't
it.
watch that one.
But he was in He was in Onward. That's for sure.
On Wii.
Onward. Onward with on Wee Wee.
Wee wee.
He's like, I'm gonna call you Wee Wee. He's like, no.
Don't do that.
He's like, no, don't. Please don't. Yeah, no. Everyone. Yeah, the movie was overall great. If we want to go into final ratings, I'll let Danny kick it off.
I don't remember what I rated last one. Was it a?
I think it was a
9?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna rate this one,
Do you like it better than the first one, or
I think
worser?
I think I do like it better in the sense of like all the new emotions and just a better flow of the movie. I feel like it was a little maybe repetitive than the first one in terms of like, oh yeah, like they left the headquarters and
So it's like derivative.
Yeah, but instead of just being joy and sadness, it's all
Like
four of
The
them.
Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like The Force Awakens is
and A New Hope. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but this one was more than just.
And I did
that.
the whole like you get to see Riley more in a sense. Like you get to see what the emotions cause Riley.
Yeah,
on the outside more.
Especially in that
the
locker room at the
hockey and the
beginning.
locker
It's just
room.
like, oh, we're Joy. And then, whoa, Joy is
The
what we're
panic
doing.
attack.
Yeah. Feeling embarrassed and wanting that envy too. And,
so
yeah.
I'd either give it the same, a 9, or maybe just a little bit higher, a 9.5.
Wow.
But it's
I'm
pretty
surprised.
solid. Yeah.
I thought you'd rate it less.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Zach?
I don't remember what I gave it the first movie. What did I give the first movie? Oh, what did I give the first movie?
I think you're also up in a 9.
I don't know if it was 9.5 or a 10. I can't
No,
remember.
Dang.
I think Anthony had the lowest one.
It was like,
And
yeah,
then
I had like an
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah,
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 8.5.
I
That's the
had
I
a
think
9.
9. And I think you had
I had
9.5.
9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a 9.5.
Yeah.
I remember seeing 9.5.
Yeah.
This one, I'm going to give it a 9.0.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 9. I think that in terms of the quality of the animation and the story and everything, it's pretty much on par with the first movie. Although I think the first one has more of like I think it's more sentiment, or not sentiment. I don't know if sentiment is the right word.
I think sentimental is
It's
the
a
right word.
more like emotional.
Yeah, I think so. Like, it hits a little bit harder. It hits
Yeah.
a little
But
bit
this
harder.
movie has more emotions. How is it more emotional than a movie with more
'Cause it
emotions?
does-
Math, Zach.
Mathing.
It doesn't have Bing Bong.
Probably, you know what? Yes.
Here,
I think that's the deal breaker.
just no
Especially for
Bing
X,
Bong.
I think
He'll
that's
come
the
back.
deal breaker.
You know
In
what?
the third one.
I have
It's
thoughts on
really
that. I'll share my thoughts.
Bing bong.
The friend that makes you play ping pong. No.
So
Anthony,
you
take it
said
over.
what? 9?
He said 9. Anthony, you gotta take it
So-
forward before I have to work out the Bing Bong trauma.
I liked it a lot. I do recommend it. It's a very good Pixar movie. It's a good sequel. Because they have made a couple of sequels, but not all of them
Most
hit
of them
as
good.
much. Most of them have been, but
Most of them good.
like they're not the Toy Story sequels. Because Toy Story, I don't know how they keep doing it, but they just keep making
Bangers.
banger after
Getting
banger
away
after
with
banger,
it.
banger after banger.
Yes, they can keep getting away with it.
Even though obviously I think 3 is the best out of the Toy Stories.
Yes.
But like 4 is still an excellent movie. It's just not as good as 3, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I
but like if 3 didn't exist, 4 would have been like the best out of the out of the others.
I think
Dude,
Four is really good.
Dude, 4 is really good. Just alone, like the concept of Forky like was blowing my mind. Like, how are you gonna put it? This whole idea of like someone who's just like, how am I alive?
Toy Story 4 key.
Yeah, Forky.
Mind is blown.
And then Forky asks a question. Like,
those are amazing.
Yeah, those are hilarious. But like Forky is asking the question like, why am I alive? How am I alive? Like, I remember watching movies like, I'm thinking the same too. Like, how am I here? Holy crap! Like, I'm trash, and he's like, I'm trash. Like, anyway, yeah. Toy Story 4 is. I think people need to like help go back and understand that movie's extremely good.
Yeah, but it's just like it's going up against 3. So,
but 3 is kind of incredible.
The GOAT? Yeah. No, it's not.
It's not The Incredibles, but it's kind of incredible.
But yeah, so I put it up there with like I think Incredibles 2 is probably, aside from the Toy Story sequels, Incredibles 2 is probably the other best sequel. So I'd put it up there in that ilk. Again, since I haven't seen Cars, I don't know about the sequels, but from what I've heard, Cars 2 isn't good.
No.
But Cars
people
3
say 3 is better than 2, but
people is me because
I've heard that from other people too.
3 is
I've heard that from
definitely
other people too.
Yeah.
There's Finding Dory, which was good, it was fun, but Finding Nemo again is one of those like top rated Pixar movies, so it's you're not going to be as good as the first one. So I feel like Finding Dory, Monsters University, and the Car sequels are probably in like the second tier. And I would actually probably put this in like the higher tier sequels because I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think it's as good as the first movie story wise, but I laughed more in this one. I felt that this one was funnier. And I also feel like I agree with you where you said like the flow was better. The first movie is a bit slower, but I feel like this movie has a better flow because we've already seen the first
one. Yeah.
So like we don't have to be introduced to everything, and it's just introducing the new feelings and characters. But yeah, this one did go faster, even though both movies are an hour and a half. Like they're fast in general.
Yeah, like Joy's rundown from the beginning was a perfect like setup.
Yeah,
like,
it was
written
very
well, like perfectly paced.
Very good. It's just like I felt like I had a more fun time with this one. I laughed a lot, and like I can see myself rewatching this like frequently. And because it's such a short movie, like I wouldn't mind rewatching it with whoever I know wants to watch it again.
Hence why I've seen it twice already.
Like I'm sure if like a cousin or a niece of mine is over and they want to stream a movie and they stream this one, it's like I wouldn't mind rewatching it. But yeah, I think it's really good. But I don't think overall it's as good as the first one, because the first one, like stuff like Bing Bong, just like the overall story, I feel like just like hits a little harder. Just like the having to move to somewhere new and being that young, and she was freaked out in that age. But so I think what I gave 8.5 to the 1st one.
Yeah.
So I give this one. Yeah, I'd give it like a 7.5. 7.5. Like one lower. It was just 1 point lower.
I'm 1 point lower. Wow. Okay.
You have to understand, like when you guys say like 9 or 10, to me the 10s are like Toy Story 3, WALL-E, Up. Those are like the 10s for me. So like I kind of compare it to that. It's like, well, this isn't one of those in my opinion. But it's again it's that Pixar problem. There's so many good ones that you have to compare it with these.
Why do I have to pick
very good ones?
They're all good.
They're very good.
It's true. Yeah.
So yeah, I like it, but yeah, it's for the sequels. Very good sequel, and I think it's up there in the upper echelon. I like saying that word. The sequels.
Upper echelon. It's a good word. Echelon is a very good word. Very, very true.
Almost as good as hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin. Or iridescent.
It's the funniest word. Hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin. So that leaves it with me. Okay. So, we talk about definitely talking about watchability and rewatchability. Like Anthony said to the point, like, if you have family or people who don't know you want to watch it. Like, I can watch it. So like pro and con, yeah, the movie doesn't have Bing Bong, but I can watch this movie without having an emotional breakdown every time Bing Bong shows up. But I really dig the way they handle more of the personification of these more complex emotions. Mm-hmm. And I think that resonates really well to the overall story. I think I can agree that there's like that emotional gut impact hit isn't as strong in this one, but I think coherently being a cohesive and coherent story, I think works really well in favor for part 2. Like there's nothing that's wasted. There's nothing that is we could have done without this, or this is this kind of kills or nosedives the pacing on anything. No, like everything works. Everything flows extremely well. It's honestly, I would I think I gave part 1 a 9.
Yeah.
I would give this one also a 9. Like just for like they're on par. Like they're like, and like I think they go perfectly hand in hand. Like you can do like a 1-2 watch-a-thon for this movie because they just they just go into each other so well.
3 hours.
One
Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, you could.
A couple years apart, maybe.
Yeah, like you go from like maybe 10, 11, up to 13.
Yeah.
So turning 10, 11. Yeah, and then going to 13. Like it's a good segue into it. It's great continuity.
And it's a good movie for the people who watched the first one. If they watched it when they were really young, now they're not as old as Riley is in this movie, but they're probably a little bit older, and so they're probably coming back as like 16, 17-year-olds watching this, and then probably
having the
same exact feelings that they had at that age when Riley's
kind of like that whole like Toy Story, like
that's why I think people in like our generation think that 3 is so good because like you grew up with 1 and 2, and then when 3 hit, you're like, like you have that same feeling when you're that age, when you're like giving up your kind of like
but you're also
and like your
and
younger
you're going
self.
to someone that like, hey, like I'm gonna show you why I love this. So this is so and so, and you're just like that last scene with Andy, like just showing her like here are my favorite toys. That was like the
deputy,
especially after the whole like, oh my god, we might die in this Infernus. At that point, you're just like, oh man, like, we're moving on. But
crying
like
about toys.
Yeah, like
who would have thought?
Yeah, like, and then this one, crying about our emotions. But like I think this with Inside Out 2, like like you're going back into like hey, they nailed that. Like a lot of people are having their aha moments of like, man, this really. Like I get it now, or like this helps me understand what this is going through, and it makes sense. Like they wrote the movie, and I think they consulted 2 separate psychologists who did studies on these kind of things, and they were talking crowdsourced like, hey, what emotions do you think we could add in to teenagers? I think there was one other extra emotion that I think it was like shame or something that they decided might have been a little too off key with the rest of the emotions. So like they settled on like embarrassment, ennui, envy, and anxiety, which worked completely in this movie's favor.
We didn't talk about the score. It wasn't Michael Giacchino.
No, it wasn't.
They just used the same
OG theme from the first movie, but I think just the rest of the movie, like throughout, it was its own score by don't remember who it was, but it was
Andrea Datzman.
It was good. It was serviced the movie
with themes from Giacchino. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that main Inside Out theme. Like when you hear that theme, you're just like hearing that in the beginning of the movie, and then it ties into the newer stuff. Like that was like the perfect motif. You're like, yeah, I'm back. Like okay, it was a good like okay, this is familiar territory. Mm-hmm. It helps you. What we like I mentioned, like ease right into sequel stuff. So yeah, man, I keep it on par with the same one.
Visually, it's good. We talked about the voice acting.
Looks good. Smells good.
Is good. Tastes good. Is good. Shaka Zulu.
Rest in peace, Coolio. Cooking with Coolio. But anyway, segue gone. Movie's great. It's still out in theaters. Will eventually be on streaming, but
Disney Plus.
Go have as summer goes along, have like a 1-2 family day. If you want to, if you'd like, Despicable Me, go into Inside Out 2. I think it's a great combo mambo before we get the Deadpool Wolverine wild stuff that happens at the end of the month.
One extreme to the other.
One extreme to the other. Exactly, folks. Any other lasting thoughts, gents, before we close it out?
No, I think...
Take your kids. Take your family. It's a fun family movie. Yeah.
Take yourself even.
Fun family movie.
Okay, real quick. I went today, and I just you know what? I'll watch it in 3D. Why not?
Oh, you watched it in 3D?
Wait, hold on.
You should have led with this.
Here was the problem when I watched it in 3D. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the 3D just wasn't working.
Post conversion.
Because that's the thing. It wasn't even that. The thing is that the only thing that had depth to it was the fact that
was Riley.
But my god.
Never mind. Continue.
Amy
I
Poehler.
didn't even
Everyone's
know
voice acting. Depth. No.
I didn't even know this was in 3D. Like they
Yeah,
still
it
made
is.
movies
I mean,
in
yeah.
3D.
I was surprised it was in 3D.
What
I mean,
was
this
the thing
is
that
a
had
3D
depth?
movie.
Thanks, James Cameron. No, okay,
So
go ahead.
the part of the movie that had depth was the fact that so you have the letterboxing and you have the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The letterboxing had like a pop out effect, and then the movie, so being in 2D, was like deeper into the screen.
Oh, so
That's
it was
all
like
it was.
further away instead of closer to you?
Barely, just barely. Like the movie itself, within the movie, like there wasn't any depth to the
Like you
the
would take off your
characters.
glasses and you'd
Yeah,
be
it was like double
the
vision.
same.
Take
So
off.
you
Dude, I know why.
Why?
Because you were watching the Dream Studios version of it.
The Dream Studios?
Yeah, the Dream Studios from part
Oh
one.
my god.
Theory. You can't say it's not real. Got it. Done. Debunked. Game over. I'm the winner. All right. With that, everybody, stay tuned for our 4 emoji pick that Danny's going to put up through social media. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, listening, and through whatever podcast platform of your choice. We hope to see you next time. Before we talk about, we might pepper in a couple little fun surprises before we get to some of the other big blockbusters of the summer. So stay tuned. So next week's episode will be a bit of a surprise. So until then, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.